Okay, everyone, it's time to draw some blood and figure out which of us is human and which of us ain't. Cooper, hand me your paw. Oh, I don't think he's going for that one. He's running. He's running. Out. Yep, he's running. This is Carol.
This is Mia.
And we're here to talk about The Thing from Another World and The Thing.
Welcome to this episode of Refried Scenes.
Yes. So, let's just jump right into this and go to 1951's The Thing from Another World. I am convinced From Another World was just tacked onto this at some point because every poster I've seen, and even the title credits, looks like they just haphazardly put From Another World on it.
And it's to get away from what we experienced earlier today, where you say, you want to watch The Thing?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
What thing? Which thing are we talking about?
Do you want to watch The Thing?
The Thing. The actual thing.
I don't understand. The movie? The Thing? Oh,
yeah. So, because you do. I mean, in the original, you get the very iconic burning lettering of The Thing, and then it's just like, From Another World.
Right.
Right underneath it. So this is 1951. Both of these movies are based, and I'm using air quotes for the first one, on the short story "Who Goes There" by what was his name? John Campbell. John Campbell wrote "Who Goes There." So in this one, you start off in Anchorage, Alaska, where a reporter, Scotty, is looking for a story. I don't know what he's doing in Alaska looking for a story, but that's where he is.
Not a lot of drama going on in Anchorage.
In Anchorage at that point. But he meets up with some old army buddies of his, Captain Hendry and Lieutenant Dykes. And they gather around a table and talk shit for 5 minutes, and boy is that dialogue going fast.
It is. So I was about to say that. It is just hammer fast. Yeah. Which is very signature for that time period. Yeah. And I tell you, I just get lost in all that. Like, my head spins. Yeah. I need some pauses, some inflection. There's not even any emoting in the lines.
They're just like saying their lines, and they're saying jokes, and they're not giving any time to respond to the jokes. It's just liner. But Captain Henry is called to a North Pole scientific station because they need the army there because they found something interesting. And so he flies up there, and Scotty tags along because he's still looking for a story. What they have found over at, what is the, Polar Expedition Station 6, is, they found a giant UFO under the ice. They do the iconic scene where they all ring around the spaceship under the ice to see out how big it is, and they realize, oh my gosh, it's a saucer. It's a flying saucer.
And really all you see from an audience perspective is some metal,
just kind of
like a metal fin, let's say, sticking out from the snow. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. They did what they could. I appreciated that. Yeah. That framing and all that.
Before they actually go out to the saucer, you meet the love interest of this one, which is Nikki, who I personally think is probably the best character in the film.
Girl crush on Nikki.
So progressive for 1951.
Yes.
One, she's wearing pants. Two, she's very no nonsense. I don't think she screams once in this entire film. And she just openly admits to sleeping with Hendry at some point. Yeah. Because she took pictures of his legs and hung them on his locker. And she was gone when he woke up, so...
And he was... Should we say later about the...
Yeah, we'll get to that bit.
We'll return to Nikki in a few scenes.
Yes. So, they go out and they do the whole ring around the saucer thing. And they decide...
Let's go play that tomorrow afternoon.
And they decide they're going to use thermite to blow the ice up and get down to the saucer, because it's under several feet of ice. This doesn't work out too well. Because it reacts with the metal.
And it puts on a good fireworks display for the audience.
It just blows up the spaceship completely. So, way to go with that scientific find of the century, guys. You just blowed it up. But they have a backup, because one of the creatures had left the spaceship and was frozen in the ice.
Just scurried off.
Yeah, big tall guy. He was going out looking and just got caught in a snowstorm. I guess. But they chisel him out. They don't blow him up with thermite. And they bring the big block of ice back to their camp. Because they're going to study him. Or something. The expedition is led by a Dr. Carrington, who is my least favorite character of the film.
Snore.
First off, he's played by a younger man, and for some bizarre reason, they talc his hair to make it look gray.
Completely unnecessary.
Completely unnecessary and completely obvious on the close-ups. It's like, you can see the powder in his hair. But he is very much of the scientific mind that knowledge is everything, and quest for knowledge trumps all life on Earth, apparently. But Hendry's having none of that. He's like, no.
And he seems to possess knowledge about alien life and technology, like, at one glance.
Yeah, were you pen pals with this thing before it got in the ice? But Hendry's like, no, we're going to guard it. We're going to make sure it's safe. And then he puts one of his least effective guards on duty, I guess, because this dude, who doesn't like seeing the dude in the ice, throws a blanket over the block of ice. And unfortunately, it's an electric blanket.
Yeah, the electric blanket.
Which is on. So this melts all of the ice, and your creature comes, your thing, we'll just call him the thing, because that's what he is. He's the thing. He gets up, and does he kill that guard? Or does he just rough him up some?
Well, whomever's turn it is to go to watch him,
yeah,
fires the gun at him over and over again, and then he runs to get everybody else.
Yeah.
So we don't really know where the alien is until they
actually see him, because they look out the window and he's out there being attacked by the dogs, the sled dogs, and he's just throwing dogs right and left. And I'm like, dude, dogs do not fare well in either of these films. But yeah, he escapes. The creature escapes. But one of the dogs is actually able to rip off an arm. Because apparently it's that easy for this alien to rip off his arm. And we find out why. Because the scientists are studying it and they realize that this is actually a highly evolved plant. It's a plant, dude.
They call it a carrot.
Yeah. It's a carrot.
They liken it to a carrot. They don't call it a carrot.
A very intelligent carrot. And Dr. Carrington, of course...
You know they wanted to call him Carotene.
Yeah. He is of the, you can't hurt this thing. We need to talk to him. We need to converse with him. We need to find out how, he's obviously more evolved than we are and much more intelligent than we are. I don't know where he's getting... I guess he's just determined that because there's a spaceship, they're far more intelligent. We don't know that this guy was the pilot, though. He could have been lunch for the crew. But they don't know. But Dr. Carrington is very much, don't kill him. We have to talk to him. Hendry is like, no, I'm going to kill him. he's like, no.
He's more rational in my opinion. Yeah. He's like, it's us or them.
It's us or this thing, and if it's coming after us, we're going to kill it. And come after it, it does. It busts into the mess hall where everyone is congregating, and in one of the most just jaw-dropping scenes of the film, they light him on fire. And this is a pretty long fire scene.
This was really well done.
Yeah. This was amazingly well done for this type of movie.
Think of like what do you call those things? The torch?
Yeah.
Thing from your waist?
A flamethrower? No,
a flamethrower.
A flamethrower, yeah. It is like a flamethrower, but they light the thing on fire, and then they're dousing him with buckets of kerosene. And the entire room is on fire.
And he's walking around, so I don't know what's going on with the actor inside the suit.
Yeah, and I believe that was still James Arness in the suit when they lit him on fire, because James Arness plays the thing in here, Matt Dillon from Gunsmoke. You can't recognize him because they very rarely shoot the thing in good lighting. And two, when they did, they lit him on fire. But what kills me is that Nikki is in this scene, and she is in a corner, and she's just got a sofa cushion in front of her. And one of the dudes throws a bucket of kerosene on this guy that's engulfed in flame, and I swear, half that kerosene arced over the thing and landed on her.
Yeah, I saw it.
And everything is on fire. And I'm like, I am surprised that no one died during this stunt. And it doesn't even kill the thing. He just breaks out and goes out into the snow. Because they're in Antarctica. He just rolls around, you know? He's
unfazed.
He's unfazed. He's a little singed, but he's unfazed.
And he's moving slowly.
Yeah. I mean, it's cold. He's only got a jumpsuit on. Carrington learns that he's gaining strength by drinking blood. He learns this because he determines that the thing has gone into the greenhouse and is looking for food. So he leaves 2 of his scientist buddies to guard the greenhouse, and the thing kills them both and hangs them from the ceiling and basically butchers them. Slits their throat. You don't see this. They talk about it afterwards. So it's 1951. You're not going to see the gore. But he slits their throats and drains their blood, and that's how he's gaining strength and rejuvenating himself.
It's a vampire alien.
A vampire carrot. It is Bunnicula. So Carrington is okay with this. So okay, in fact, that he takes bits of the creature and plants them and uses the expedition's blood supply to feed the plants.
Which makes no sense whatsoever.
It really doesn't.
It makes one cool scene where somebody gets to say, "So you planted seeds of this thing?"
Yeah.
And then you see a tray of potted seeds.
And they're breathing. The little plants are breathing and making little gurgling noises. It's kind of silly.
All that nonsense for that cool scene, though.
Yeah.
Was it worth it? Maybe not.
Well, I have to say this is a very talky. They talk.
Ooh,
they do not show. So a lot of the big things that happen are just talked about. Like the dogs dying and the scientists dying. It's just, they talk about them afterwards. But Hendry finds out that Carrington has planted seeds. And he burns all of that. So that is taken care of. Because he doesn't want this thing to get out. I'm not quite sure why, because this doesn't have the same problem that the remake does, and we'll get into that. This is just one dude that, yes, if he loses parts of himself, they're still kind of alive, but he's not, like, actively going around planting his fingers or something. He's one alien guy. But he burns the plants that Carrington planted, and they decide to trap the creature, and they trap him in the greenhouse, and they board up the door. And they create this electrified kind of tunnel because they're going to electrify it. And they figure that will turn it to ash and that will kill it completely. In a hilarious moment, because they've barricaded this door, they've nailed wood across the door, and then the creature just opens the door and it opens inside. It's a pull, not a push. So
it was hilarious. It was hilarious.
The boarding up of the door meant absolutely nothing because the thing just opens the door and it walks out.
And I don't think it was supposed to be funny.
I don't think it was supposed to be funny either. And if they hadn't boarded up the door, I wouldn't have laughed so hard, but it was just like them boarding the door and then the thing just opens the door. It's like, well, that didn't quite work, guys. Carrington comes along and is trying to talk to this thing. And it, of course, is like, yeah, whatever, get out of the way, and smacks him. I don't think it kills him. I think it just smacks him.
I think it kills him.
Oh, well, let's hope so. Anyone who's like, knowledge above everything, it doesn't matter if every human dies on this planet as long as we have knowledge.
Well, and he goes up to this tall being and he's like, I appreciate you, I get you, be my friend.
No, it smashes him upside the head. And then they have to like coerce it onto the electrified floor because he's walking off of it, so it's like, okay, we need to throw that pole at him. He jumps up.
Quick, lead pipe.
So he jumps up onto the little electrified floor and they zap him and he turns to dust. And that's basically it. Scotty gets his story. The running thread in this is that Scotty, who has his camera with him at all times, never gets a shot. Never.
That is the comedic relief of this movie. And I did enjoy it.
Yeah. Because, the dead scientist, they didn't open the door long enough. He didn't get the shot. At one point, he forgets to pick up his camera when the thing is in the room. For the end scene, he faints. So he doesn't get any pictures, but he gets to tell his story. He's the last person speaking in the film, and it's basically, watch the skies, trust no one. And that is the thing from another world.
The thing from another world.
So there's some good parts and bad parts in this film. It's not like in some ways it is very much your standard 1950s sci-fi film in that they tell you more than they show you. And that's because they just simply didn't have the effects knowledge in 1951.
They went bold in some areas, though.
Yeah. Like throwing fire on people.
Throwing fire on people. Nikki has somebody in bondage rope.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She ties him up and she gags him. She ties up Henry. And this isn't like tying him up to keep him...
Nope.
No, this is playtime.
He woke up that way.
She's got him tied to a chair and gagged.
It wasn't the first time they've done this.
No, and he seems to be fine with it. So,
oh yeah, he's fully consenting partner.
Oh yeah. So, and in the end, they make noise that they're going to get married, so you don't think, oh my god, what a hussy. But good on Nikki, man, because she was one of the bright spots of this movie. Because I'm not used to a 1950s movie where the woman is actually competent and somewhat progressive, right. and speaks her mind and ties up her boyfriend. But there you have it. That is the thing from another world.
Can I say what I did not like? I did not like the set, like the wardrobe at all. You spoke to it a little bit about the talcum powder in the doctor's hair, and that was part of it. But also, they're supposed to be in frigid temperatures.
Yeah, they're supposed to be in the North
and they're
Pole.
Wearing like stylish peacoats.
Stylish peacoats. At one point, Hendry goes outside, and I swear to God, he's just got a windbreaker on, and I'm like, you are gonna freeze to death, dude.
There's no like gloves, earmuffs.
Yeah. There's nothing protecting you from the cold.
In no way do I believe they're actually even a little bit chilly. Yeah. Let alone freezing temperatures.
I was surprised that a couple of scenes were obviously filmed on location.
Yeah, that's true.
Most of the close-ups it's very obviously a set. But there was a couple landing scenes, plane scenes, where you see the actual actors getting out of a plane.
Mm-hmm. So it's a real plane and a real snowscape.
So that was surprising, because normally with these things, I'm just used to nothing but studio.
Yeah, the airplane stage. With the wires.
Yeah. Yeah. This is actually, a lot of that stock footage, but the landing is the actual actors getting out of the plane. So there's some good bits, and there's some just 1950s bits in this.
And also, if you don't sympathize with the doctor,
you're
really not going to get much.
The doctor was my least favorite character here.
Oh, absolutely. Mine too. By a far margin.
I know lots of smart people, and not one of them are like, knowledge above life. What are you going to do with the knowledge if you're dead, honey?
He was just miserable.
Yeah. And just trying very desperately to undermine anything Hendry was doing in saving everybody. It was just, he did not seem believable at all to me.
Right.
He was very annoying. So, jump forward, 31 years? Yeah, 1982. Is it 1982? 1982, yeah, 31 years later.
The Thing.
To The Thing. Just The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing, because John Carpenter got wise really early on and put his name on everything. Uses the same font, the same burn-through font for The Thing, which I like. But that is very much the only thing that it has in common with the original.
And the dogs.
And the dogs, yeah. And kind of, I think they're actually in Antarctica, not the North Pole.
Are they?
I think they're in the South Pole. Are they? Yeah, they're in Antarctica, so they're on the opposite end of the world. So this is 1982. Stars Kurt Russell. I didn't recognize anybody from the original other than James Arness playing the Thing. Here you got Kurt Russell, Wilford Brimley, Keith David. Pretty much staples for John Carpenter films in the early 80s. But this takes place in Antarctica. They are... What are they? Why are they there? That's,
There is some sort of military research station?
It's just a research station. They're not military.
No?
No, because none of them... I thought
that there was maybe some coding on the helicopter or something to, like, indicate...
If they're military, they are clearly not keeping any... They're just
arriving here after a Norwegian team was there.
Right? No, the Norwegian team has a research facility about 5 miles away.
Okay.
So that's a totally different research, because we start with the Norwegians, 2 of the Norwegian team in helicopters, and they're trying to shoot a dog. And this dog is just running. And the dog runs to the American camp, basically. And the Norwegians land because they want to kill this dog. And the dog is like, oh my god, other humans, I love you, I love you, I love you, please save me. It goes immediately to Clark, who is the guy who handles all of the dogs for the Americans. This thing knew exactly who to go to, because Clark cares about the dogs more than he cares about the humans. And he goes right to him. And is like licking his face, like, oh my god, I love you. And the Norwegians are trying to shoot him. And they shoot one of the Americans accidentally in the thigh.
Well, they're aiming wildfire.
Yeah, they're screaming. Nobody speaks Norwegian. Nobody knows what the heck is going on.
The only word I caught was "niet."
Yeah, and one of them gets out of the helicopter and goes to throw a grenade and loses it. He does the whole back up to throw it, and it slips out of his hands behind him and blows up the helicopter, killing the one of them. Mm-hmm. And then the second one is killed by Gary, who is the head of this research. I'm assuming he's because he's got all the keys. So he's the head of this research team, and he breaks a window and shoots the other Norwegian in the head. And I'm like, Gary, why'd you break the window? You could have just opened a door. You're in Antarctica, dude. Why are you letting the cold air in? But he just breaks the window and shoots the Norwegian, and they don't understand what the hell is going on with the Norwegian team.
Yeah, why are they trying to kill a dog? We love dogs.
Yeah. Clark keeps the dog, and I have to say, this dog is one of the best dog actors I've ever seen on film.
Oh, he's so sweet.
He's so sweet, and he lurks. He lurks so menacingly while looking so adorably cute. He's just walking through their research.
He really does. He captures this, oh, I want to go give a dog a hug.
Why are you watching them all, dog? Because he'll just sit outside the door and watch everybody.
Yeah.
And then he's roaming around very slowly, looking indoors. And this is where I think one of the infections happens. Because he stops at a door and there's somebody, you see a silhouette in the door, you don't know who it is, and the dog goes in to the room. And I think that's where the first infection takes place. So your lead here is McCready, who's played by Kurt Russell. He's the helicopter pilot. And he takes the doc, Copper, to the Norwegians, the Norwegian camp, because the doc wants to know what the hell is going on with these Norwegians. What the heck? So they go there and everybody is dead.
They see razors and things like that to know that, that these Norwegians killed themselves.
Yeah.
As they were being assimilated.
Yeah. So there's a lot of suicide. There's a huge pyre outside with this, at least one body that is burnt. And then another just strange conglomeration of bodies. And they take some videotapes to find out what they were researching, and what they were researching was a spaceship, which they stumble across. And here they have actually excavated quite a bit of it. But it is still
quite a bit.
Yeah. They use footage from the original as the Norwegians' videotapes. They show them blowing up the ice. They show them cutting out the square where the creature is. And you don't know exactly how the creature got out of the ice here. You just know that he is. And and Copper's like, okay, we don't know what the heck's going on, but we're going to take this huge, hideous, melded body thing back to camp with us. Because I want to... I mean, I want to do an autopsy.
Yeah, and he dissects the body and, like, holds the organs. Like, we see all that body gore.
Yeah, that's, here, they do not hold back on the gore. So, first off, you got...
he doesn't even pick the organs up and, like, smell them.
That's Blair.
Clean, all right.
That's Wilford Brimley, because Wilford Brimley's, the doc looks at the Norwegian that was shot, and he's like, this is just a Norwegian. Wilford Brimley. There's a lot of Gouda in them veins. Anyway, Wilford Brimley's like tearing into this massive thing, and he's pulling out, this is the liver, this is internal organs.
They look normal.
They
don't have the diabetes.
It doesn't look normal. Wilford Brimley was 48 years old when he made this film, and he looks 70. I think the man was born 70 years old. Anyway, we go back to Clark, who one of the researchers is like, will you put the dog with the other dogs? Because the dog is just kind of skulking around, sniffing people. And so Clark puts him with the other dogs, and that's when all hell breaks loose, because this thing it's the entire face of the dog opens up, and you get little tendrils flying everywhere, and it eats all of the other dogs. In a very gruesome scene that is very sad because the dogs are very pretty. Mm-hmm. And Clark, of course, hears the dog screaming and calls everybody, and MacReady says, get a flamethrower. He turns to Childs, who is Keith David. Yeah, Keith David, not David Keith. I personally think that Keith names. David and David Keith should star in a movie where Keith David plays David and David Keith plays Keith. Just to confuse the hell out of everybody. Anyway, Childs goes to get a flamethrower, and they burn the crap out of this dog creature. But it doesn't really matter, because infections is... the creature's already infected one of them. They don't realize at this point... This is when they realize that the creature can actually mimic what it infects. Because
they can see...
They can see the dog.
They see the dog open up.
Yeah. So, Blair gets the Wilford Brimley character gets really paranoid at this point. Because he realizes, he's the first one to realize that this is kind of taking over and mimicking.
Well, he feeds into the computer the cell division. Like, so you see really 8-bit demonstration of the alien cell assimilating human cells, and then it says odds are that the humans are infected 75%. So he's like, well,
it's very much 1980s computer graphics. But this is set in fine because this is set in 1982. This isn't like the Nostromo where for some reason Mother has 8-bit display. This is 1982 technology. Kurt Russell is playing Chess Master, which I used to play. And he loses, so he douses it with whiskey, which is pretty much a waste.
Cheating
bitch. God, cheating bitch. Yeah, you just can't play chess, MacReady. Anyway, Blair gets really paranoid and realizes that anybody could be infected and nobody can actually leave. So he sabotages the helicopter and the tractor and the radio. And while he's doing this, he beats the crap out of the radio operator, Windows. Poor Windows. Anyway, he just takes an axe and starts breaking everything. Because he's like, nobody can leave here. We can't let this out. Because it will just assimilate everything around it. So they subdue him and put him in the tool shed. Lock him in there. for some strange reason, he fashions himself a noose. Because the next time they go to check on him, there's like a noose hanging in front of the window. And I'm like, okay, was he going to kill himself?
He's just going to let it hang there, I guess, so that when he knows he's been infected, he can go ahead and wait for that opportune time, just like we figure the Norwegians did.
Yeah.
Because they committed suicide during transition.
So, this is... unfortunately, it doesn't quite work. But they lock up Blair. Is it Blair? Yeah.
Yeah.
And they move all of the bodies into storage. And Windows and Bennings, another one of the guys, are taking stuff out of storage because they're going to lock up these bodies. Seriously, guys, just burn them because that blanket's moving and nobody is watching it. And this is when it gets Bennings. So it tries to assimilate Bennings, but Windows comes in in the middle of it. So you get this really kind of grotesque scene of Bennings with like tendrils coming out of them.
Yeah.
The practical effects in this movie are amazing. And they really, for the most part, hold up. Mm-hmm. Even now. So it's pretty... I've always been impressed.
It was ahead of its time.
Yeah, way ahead. So Bennings is dead. Windows calls everybody in and they burn what's in in the storeroom. And they determine that one of the scientists there, I believe it's his name is Fuchs. Yeah, Fuchs, has an idea to test blood. But before he can actually implement that, he is burned alive and nobody quite knows how that happened or what happened. And before he dies, he finds a ripped up shirt of MacReady's because the creature actually rips apart your clothes when it gets to you. So he dies, and you're left to think that maybe MacReady is already infected.
Yeah, there's a lot of genius here because you start to suspect Creedy, and then when we see Childs, or no, it's not Childs. Who has the
roller skates?
The razor. That he's holding at his side.
That is, oh gosh.
It's the dog guy.
Clark, the dog guy.
And then Windows is starting to be filmed like with his brow down.
Right.
So he's looking suspicious too. This is really well
Gary,
done.
the head guy, is the only one who could get into. They find that all their blood is missing, and Gary is the only one who had keys to the blood supply. So he's a suspect. Everybody who is left alone for any length of time is basically a suspect. And they determine that they're going... they go... was it... Oh, God. What was the rollerblade guy's name? The roller skater. Knowles. Knowles and MacReady go to check on MacReady's cabin because MacReady's like, when I left, I turned the light off and the light is on. So they go to investigate that, and only Knowles comes back because Knowles finds the ripped up shirt and he thinks that MacReady is infected. So MacReady comes back and they're all immediately like, we're going to kill MacReady. And MacReady's like, well, I'm going down, I'm going to take everybody with me, and he has a huge thing of dynamite and he's like, I'll just blow everybody up. He don't care no more.
I think he knows he's not making out of this.
Yeah, I think at that point he kind of realized that this isn't gonna...
Yeah, the best I can do is save the rest of the planet from infection. Yeah. That's the best that they're hoping for.
So he wants to do this blood test, and nobody is having it. And then while they're discussing this, one of the guys actually has a heart attack, and I'm using air quotes here. This is an older, pudgier guy. Remember what his...
Well, Child says, let's go ahead and... No, Child says no, but one of them says, let's go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's actually...
Is it Knowles?
Clark actually says, let's listen to MacReady.
Oh, okay.
But before then, one of the guys has a heart attack, and they call in the doctor, and he's doing a defibrillator on him.
Or is he?
And, yeah, that dude's chest just opens up and eats the doctor's hands.
Just bites him off at the elbow.
Yeah, and so Doc is dead. This other dude's dead. This is the iconic scene where his head falls off and turns into a spider. And practical effects were amazing in this scene alone. Just, it's wild. And they're just tendrils everywhere, and MacReady and Childs just burn the whole lot of it. They just burn everything. They burn the dock because he's starting to turn. And then MacReady ties up Childs, Gary, and
Knowles.
Benning, and Knowles. Windows is not. Windows he keeps free because he needs an extra pair of hands. Because Windows and Clark are free, and he's going to start doing the blood test when Clark tries to make a power play and take the gun away from MacReady. Because MacReady at this point has all the weapons. He has the flamethrower, he has dynamite, and he has a gun. and MacReady just shoots him in the head. Because he's like, you know what? I'm saving myself. I know I'm human. I don't know what he is. So he shoots Clark. And then he tests Windows' blood. And Windows is clear. And what they're doing is they're superheating a wire filament. Because they feel that
if they heat the blood, because they know
react.
If they know that fire
destroys
the alien. So.
Yeah, and this creature, they determine that it's not like us where we are a collection of atoms. Every little piece of it is the organism, basically. So the blood will react to heat. So they're superheating wire and just putting it in the blood. And Windows is safe. MacReady is safe. Or human, I should say. None of these guys are safe. He tests the Doc's blood because the Doc is dead. And Clark's blood, and both of them were human before they died. So Childs is like, you just killed a human being. And MacReady's like, well, sucks to be him. He tests Childs, and Childs is... Well, actually, he tests Knowles first. Knowles is clear. Childs is clear. They're saving Gary for last because Gary's kind of an asshole. And they test Benning, and Benning is Benning's blood reacts to it.
Yeah, which totally threw me way off.
I was fully anticipating Gary the first time I watched this.
Absolutely.
I was fully anticipating Gary. What I love about this scene is that even the people being tested aren't quite sure they're human, because when they test, it's like, oh, thank God I'm human.
Right.
So they're even doubting themselves at this point. But Benning's blood just goes everywhere, and at this point he's still tied to Gary and Childs. So they're like, get me out.
They're leaning. Like, I love that scene. They're leaning to one side as far away as they can.
Let us go. And Benning, like, he flies up to the ceiling. He drops down, and poor Windows, just too slow with that flamethrower.
Windows was just shocked. He was just gobsmacked and frozen still.
And the thing just...
paralyzed by fear. So
the thing's head opens up and just munches his head.
It's like, you're my next lunch.
Throws him around like a little rag doll. And then after they burn up Windows and Benning, they test Gary's blood, and Gary is human. And then the best line ever.
Oh, the best line ever.
Would appreciate it if at some point you could untie me so I don't spend the rest of this escapade tied to this fucking couch.
It's really amazing.
Yeah. This is a really good film. So they go up to they leave Childs on guard. This is what I never understood about this movie, because they leave Childs alone. Completely alone. The other three, because you're down to Knowles, Gary, MacReady, and Childs. The other three go to look for Blair. Blair or Blaine? Blair. They go to look for Blair. Because they're going to bring him back. Because he's still locked in the tool shed. I never understood why they leave Childs alone.
I thought that they didn't intentionally leave Childs alone. I thought that the plan is for him to come along.
No,
because when he comes back,
he
says, I got lost on the way.
MacReady tells him to keep an eye out the window, and if Blair comes back alone, to kill him.
Oh, okay.
So, it just
didn't...
didn't...
they separate later, intentionally?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because this is the last you see of Childs for a while. It's just him looking out the window. They go up to find Blair, and Blair is not in his little shed. He has dug down underneath the shed, created his own little snow cavern. This thing works quick, because this is only like 48 hours later. Made his own little, moved the desk down. He's got his own little workspace, and he's using pieces from the tractor and the helicopter to create some sort of transportation for itself.
I just always think of, like, watching beavers on a time-lapse video, making their little hands.
Wilford Brimley's just shoveling snow with his hands. So at this point, you know that Blair is infected. Yes. There's no way Wilford Brimley, no amount of oatmeal is going to make Wilford Brimley dig that much snow up that quickly. So they decide they're just going to blow the shit out of everything. They grab dynamite, and at this point Gary bites it because Blair sneaks up behind him and pushes his fingers into his face. It's really kind of gross.
But it's effective. It smothers him, so he can't really scream. Yeah,
because his whole hand is just like all up into his face and in his cheeks, and then he just drags him by his head somewhere.
That scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Yeah.
The rest of the movie I could handle as a kid. All the gore, all the, like, weird...
creepy crawlies.
Yeah, the creature morphing into different... You know, the dog separating. All of that I could handle, but... It was the face muzzle that really, really got me.
And then for some reason, Knowles goes to investigate, and this is another one I'm just like, what are you doing, Knowles? Because you never see him again, so you figure that Blair got him. I'm assuming there's a cut scene somewhere that shows you what happened to Knowles. But it's just MacReady and Blair, and Blair comes up out of the snow, and he's this full transmorphing thing. He's got dogs hanging out of him now. Half of Wilford Brimley's face is hanging off of him.
Yes, basically everything it's assimilated into one.
Is starting to come out, and MacReady just blows it up. And in blowing up that area, it blows up, like, basically the entire station.
Under the ground.
Yeah. So MacReady gets out, and he's watching everything burn. And up walks Childs, who says, he's like, well, where have you been? And Childs is like, well, I thought I saw Blair, so I went out. I got lost in the snow. Took me a while to get back. And then they just sit there, and it's like, well, fire's going to keep everything hot for a little while, but it won't last. What do you think we'll do? We'll just sit here and wait it out, I guess. And that's how the movie ends, with just the two of them staring at each other. I have always felt that Childs was infected at this point.
Do you think that Childs attacks MacReady?
I don't think it matters.
No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. At the point where they were going for Blair, MacReady kind of thinks that the creature is trying to freeze itself again.
Yeah.
Because it's been frozen for 100,000 years. And if it just freezes itself again, it doesn't matter. It just waits for somebody else to find it. Mm-hmm. So, Childs, if he's infected, he doesn't care if it gets cold. That's what he wants, really. So he can just wait out MacReady. Because MacReady's not... He's not going to last much. He's not going to last the night, not in Antarctica.
No.
In the middle of a snowstorm. So, I always figured that Childs was infected at this point.
I think so, too. I'm glad they make it ambiguous.
Yeah, they don't tell you.
But I think so, too, because if he wasn't, I feel like Childs would have been like, oh, MacReady, it's you. There would have been more of, like,
I think there would have been more antagonism. How did you survive? Childs never once questions MacReady surviving.
No. Or what happened.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. He doesn't ask for details or anything.
What happened to Knowles? What happened to Gary?
Right.
Yeah, he doesn't ask for any sort of details. He's just like, oh, so you're here. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I always figured that Childs was infected, and he's just going to wait it out and freeze in the snowstorm and wait for somebody to come and investigate the station. And then be transported to wherever and start feasting.
Yep. Well, there we have our rundown.
Yeah, that's The Thing from Another World. And The Thing. There is another The Thing from 2011, which is a prequel to John Carpenter's The Thing, and tells the story of the Norwegians. I have seen it. It is
I've only heard about it. I haven't seen it myself.
This could have been a very interesting film because they were going to do everything practical effects, much like John Carpenter's The Thing, but the studio stepped in and said you can't do a film without CGI. So everything, every effect in the film looks like shit.
Does it look like a sci-fi film?
It does. It looks like a sci-fi film.
No.
I've watched a behind the scenes for The Thing, and it's not a great film. It really isn't. The lead is female because they felt, women, girl power. Because The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, has no female characters at all. It's a dick fest.
That's true, but I never really paid any attention to it.
I didn't pay any attention to it either because it's just
invested.
I don't care. They're good characters, they're great characters, and it's a great movie. And I don't care that the 2011 Thing has a female lead. She's not terrible. Just that the story isn't all that compelling because you know exactly how it's going to end. It's going to end with 2 Norwegians in a helicopter shooting at a dog. Because that's
how the thing
That's opens. How it... Yeah. So you know what's going to happen. And then every time they show the creatures, it just looks like shit because they've put this CGI mask over all of the practical effects. And I've seen behind the scenes where they've shown the practical effects, and I'm like, that could have been at least a decent looking film with the effects that they had before the studio stepped in and said, no, you need to CGI it up. But, I didn't rewatch that one for this. We just did The Thing from Another World and The Thing. And I think it's pretty obvious. The Thing is my favorite John Carpenter film. I think...
The Thing is one of my favorite sci-fi films
I think
ever.
It's actually probably my top 10 favorite films of all time. Yeah. I've seen it a lot of times. I don't get tired of it.
Right.
I think the effects stand up even 40 years later.
And I still catch new things. Like this, on this watch, it was, now I'm bad with the names. I can never get them straight. But the one that's like, man, it's Chariots of the Gods, man.
Oh, like, Benning, the stoner. The stoner dude who's all Chariots of the Gods, and it's men from outer space, man, yeah.
There's nothing we could do.
And he ends up being the one that is infected. There's little things that you find every time you watch it, and I just love the performances. I think all of these guys work really well together.
They're so good. This whole movie, not just the cast, but like the people behind the scenes that film it in a certain way, score the movie a certain way, light it a certain way. Everything just works in harmony to create this incredible suspense. Yeah. Where each person is distrusting of each other and then ultimately of themselves. Yeah. Am I an alien? What would happen?
Would I even know if I were?
Would I even know?
So literally with the blood test, there's like Windows is like, you think he's going to like freak out or something because he's
on edge.
Yeah, he's on edge, and then it's like nothing happens, and he's like, oh. It's like, okay, he actually thought he might be an alien.
Right.
So, I did read a synopsis of the novella that this is based on, Who Goes There? And the 1981 version follows that novella far closer than the 51 version. It is, in the novella, it's an Antarctic station. It's a creature that assimilates and mimics humans, and nobody knows who is infected.
Who is who?
Yeah. I haven't read it. I just read a synopsis. And I didn't read the end of the synopsis because I kind of want to go back and read the novella. And I don't want, even though I've seen John Carpenter's The Thing, and I'm pretty sure that ends similarly, I don't want to spoil the ending of the novella if I ever get around to reading it. But yeah, I mean, 1982's The Thing is...
That's the clear winner here.
It's a clear winner.
Both of us.
I'm not going to say that the 51 version is bad.
No, it's worth a watch.
For a 1950s sci-fi film, it's got some really great moments. Mm-hmm. But, yeah. John Carpenter's The Thing. That is his best film, in my opinion.
I agree.
Tops Halloween by a long shot.
All right, well, let's spin a randomizer for the next.
What we're doing next. So, for the next episode, since we're going into October, we decided to pull out all of the horror movies from our list of movies that have remakes and we will do a horror movie for the next one. And then we are going to do Dune at the end of October.
Because it opens in
October 21st. In the end of October. And that will be an interesting episode, to say the least. We are both huge David Lynch fans. And
the trailer for Dune.
Oh my god, yeah. I've stopped watching any of the trailers for the new Dune because I don't want to see anything more than I've already seen.
I have high hopes.
So we have 7 horror movies on our list. So I'm just going to do the randomizer to 7. And number 2 is Village of the Damned, another John Carpenter. Oh, God. So, yeah, because he did the remake of Village of the Damned.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well,
it's
all right.
John Carpenter's The Village of the Damned.
I think I have seen both versions.
I'm pretty sure...
But not back to back.
I'm pretty sure I've seen the original. I don't know if I've sat through all of John Carpenter's version. But this will be interesting. A lot of creepy-ass kids with bright eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so...
Well, let's look forward to Village of the Damned and Dune.
And if we can fit one more in October, we'll do another horror film. If not, we'll do Dune.
We'll probably do it anyway, because it's spooky season.
Spooky season, man, yeah. Spooky season until December 15th, and that's when you can switch to Christmas. All right, this is Carol.
And Mia.
And we're signing off.